Game week! Game week! Game week! Oregon Ducks! Game week! Well, not a lot to talk about last game. I don't really want to go too much into details. A lot of people have already done that. You can watch the other Duck podcast for that sort of thing. I'm here at Mingus Park, recovering from a hard weekend. Don't follow my betting advice. Don't. My advice, for entertainment purposes only, do I even talk about the spreads. And like I said, I'm here at Mingus Park. Beautiful place. Noisy, a little noisy. This is my third try at this video because of noise. I'm just giving up on it. Let's see if this is better. Anyway, like I said, I don't really want to talk a lot about the games and the X's and O's. That's for other podcasts. What I'm here to talk about is history. And let's just look a little bit though at the last game. We do have a couple of positives. The Duck, once again was very dominant. Duck always wins. Duck is always dominant. Uga had no chance in this one. The Duck did his moves. He stomped a lot, cried a lot, shook his head a lot. I guarantee, even though I didn't see any actual footage, the Duck once again was the dominant mascot in that game. So, gotta look at the positives, and really a real positive, no injuries. That's a nice shot. Little sun. So, next game coming up, Eastern Washington. Should be a blowout. We're back at home, right? It's Autzen Stadium. But not so fast. Because I want to take us back to 1993, a game that I actually attended. The Montana Grizz came to town. Montana Grizz was a Division II powerhouse. They're always in the playoffs. They brought a bunch of fans down from Missoula. This was their Super Bowl. This was their big game. This meant a lot to them. And in 1993, the Ducks, like now, very optimistic, but really didn't know much about them. We knew they were more talented. We knew we had a chance to get to a bowl game. A year later would be the legendary season, I believe, when we actually did make it to the Rose Bowl, the magical season. Maybe it was the year after that. But these were a lot of the same players that were getting in there. We had Ricky Whittle, we had Christian McLemore, a speedy receiver named Murray, Danny O'Neill at quarterback. We had the Joes in this game. We were the team that should dominate. This little tiny, small, I mean, their linemen were 230 back then. Their defensive linemen, they had a real good linebacker. He was a Division II All-American. And the game started as you'd expect, 21-0. Ducks are cruising. Oh, I should mention they had the legendary coach Don Reed was coaching that team, who was one of the first innovators of the passing game. And that's what Montana did. They passed and they passed and they passed some more. Lots of little dinks and dunks. And those kind of teams are always a little dangerous, which is why I say this game reminds me of Eastern Washington, because Eastern Washington also a very good passing team. They had the Walter Payton Award winner last year at quarterback. He graduated. The new quarterback, Talkington, threw for 5 touchdowns his first game. I guess they needed it to win as they came back. But at least at that position, they're going to be good. And they're going to be a good passing team. Last time they came into Autzen, they had a Cooper Kupp, who's now one of the best receivers in the NFL, if not the best. And he had a good game. I think he scored 3 touchdowns. We won 61-42, maybe. So did not cover. I said I wasn't going to talk much about that. But this is another game I would stay away from the cover unless it's under 20. Unless it's under 20. But if it's a 30 point spread, they don't have the spread out yet, or I'd know. But if it's too high, don't take it, because there's always the possibility of that backdoor cover. Well, let's go back to Montana. The Little Grizz came to town with a bunch of their fans being real loud in a not sold out Autzen Stadium back when Autzen was just a little stadium. 35,000, I think, was the capacity at that time. We didn't fill it all the time, especially for a team like Montana. You could get a 2-for-1 ticket at Bimart coupon. So you could take a friend, it cost 20 bucks, and the two of you could go watch the Ducks. It's the good old days to a certain fan group. And people like me remember we weren't spoiled. We just wanted a winning season that year. And I think we fell short. It was 5-6 or something. Because I don't think we went to a bowl game that year. I think we went to a bowl the year before, possibly. The first bowl game we'd been to in years. But that year we fell short. So here come the Grizz. They come into town and started as you'd expect, 21-0. Ducks were cruising, high-fiving on the sidelines. Good chance to showcase our new team, the new talent level, new optimism. This was the year, maybe. Similar to now, only the fans weren't nearly as spoiled. Didn't expect things. They were just hoping. But then something happened in the second half. I believe we maybe knocked out their quarterback, or they replaced him with a guy whose last name was Dickinson. I can't remember his first name, but Dickinson went on to play in the CFL for many years. I think he played a little in the NFL. Dickinson was a real good little quarterback, and he started hitting everything, all the little dinks and dunks and passes, and next thing you know, it's 21-7, and then maybe it's 28-7, and then the next thing you know, it's 28-14. And Ducks ended up winning 35-30. It was not an easy game. Montana actually had the better of it towards the end of the game. Their little linemen, who I was saying were tiny, were really quick and hard for our linemen to deal with. They were getting to the quarterback. The linebackers making like 20 tackles. They're playing their hearts out. And it turned into a war. Turned into a little war. The second game of the season in 1993. And that's a game that this game kind of reminds me of. Because it's a situation where we need to get well. We need to get healed. We need that Autzen magic. We need some special things to happen. Start seeing this team as what we expect, more of a dominant team. Lanning's second game as a head coach. That first one, I think he wants to just forget about, as anybody would. Because that was rough. That was rough. But again, the Duck was dominant. The Duck mascot always wins. That's something we can always count on. As dominant as Georgia was, the Donald, once again, dominated Uga. What did Uga do? What's Uga do? He just sits over on the sideline, occasionally tries to bite somebody. He drools a lot. I mean, we dominated that game in the mascot department. So, you know, take the little victories. And no injuries. Justin Flo is going to play his second game in a season as a Duck, and that's exciting. Eastern Washington, look out. I expect the Ducks to be very, very, very motivated for this game, and I kind of feel sorry for Eastern Washington, but I say that with just a little bit of caution, because I was there when the tiny little Montana Grizz, led by our ex-coach Don Reed, gave the Ducks everything they could handle. And that game, that day, was a wake-up call that year. Hopefully the Ducks just had their wake-up call. But that year, that was kind of a wake-up call and got us playing a little better. Best thing about this game is that Eastern Washington's going to pass it 40, maybe 50 times. Our secondary is going to get a really good workout, good chance to get ready for BYU. And as long as we don't blow it, like Oregon State did in 2015 when Eastern Washington beat them, it should be a good learning experience. I don't really care if we win by 30 or 50 or whatever. I just want to win. I just don't want to see that 2015 Oregon State debacle happen to Oregon. And it's always likely. When a team can pass really good, it's a big equalizer in today's game. The modern game of football can really wear out your team, can wear out your secondary, they can get momentum. There's no Cooper Krupp there, but there might be one. We just don't know who he is. So I have a lot of faith in the coaches, get things on track. The game against Georgia, the best thing about it is it's over. It's over. It's gone. It's in the past. Motivating factor, and here we go. Here we go. The season's actually on. Those of you who thought that we were going to be a playoff team this year, readjust your thinking a little. As good as Mario was at recruiting, he did not really leave us in great shape on the defensive line. Good defensive line, but not in the top 10 teams. Like the best teams have much better lines and probably a better secondary. I look for us to get a lot better technique-wise. I look for the secondary to get a lot better. We have great coaches. Don't put it all on the coaches. They're going to get these players to improve. All right, I'm talking about the game again, and that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is how freaking dominant the Oregon Duck mascot is, and I would expect that again. Grizz have no chance in that area. They're going down, both on the scoreboard and, did I say Grizz? I mean Eastern Washington, whatever they're, I don't know what they are, the Eagles, or I don't know. I don't care. They're Eastern Washington. They're another little team that passes the ball very well, and so they're dangerous. But go Ducks. We're going to win this. Otson's going to heal us, and then it's a big game next week, the week after. Hopefully we get a lot of work on passing, because BYU's probably going to pass it a lot too. And this is really the start of the season. This is the real start of the season. Beat Eastern Washington by 1 point. I don't care. Just beat them. Don't lose to that team in Autzen. Game week!